All right, you guys, we are back, and I am here with somebody who has become what I consider a really good friend. We haven't known each other for super long. We actually met on a business cruise. Okay, that sounds like an oxymoron, but it really was. It really was a business cruise. It was super fun, super awesome. We were with really high-level, like-minded people, high-level coaches, and we were, learning a lot about moving forward in our business. And I have grown to love this guy already. Our whole office team, I don't know what you did. It's like you have this magic sauce. Our whole office team thinks that Harrison Rogers is all that. He is like the best thing since, what do our grandparents say, since sliced bread or whatever. Harrison is amazing. I'm telling you, you can't see him without a smile on his face. He is so crazy successful. You guys, he hobnobs with the bigwigs, and he is one of them. He is unbelievable. First, let me tell you a little bit about his family so you realize that he is kind of actually a human being. He is married to his wife, McKenna, who we got to meet, and that was really awesome. They live in Arizona, and they have 6 kids. 6 kids. So one of the things we'll be wanting to know is how you do it all. Harrison is what I would call a serial entrepreneur. He is passionate about turning ideas into businesses, and he is very good at it. He makes businesses make a lot of money, and he is in the realm of several different niches, several different categories of business. So we're going to get to know him a little bit more, but I'm not done bragging about him yet. So he has launched so many companies, and some of them rank very high in the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies in America. So I'm not kidding when I am saying all these things about Harrison. He found another passion after he has created a lot of successful businesses, and it has to do with helping distressed companies. He takes distressed companies, he turns them into healthy and profitable companies that are in really good positions. He also is really excited and passionate. You're going to keep hearing that word come up. Passionate about investing in and helping with mental health. And we're going to get a little bit behind the scenes with Harrison, and we'll see how vulnerable he'll be willing to get with us to tell us about that and why. He is the founder and CEO at HJR Global. We'll let him tell you what that is, what that all is about. And he works with organizations, including special needs care, education, real estate, home security and automation, construction. He's in commercial real estate, all crazy, crazy stuff. It's amazing. And tell me if I get this right. HJR Global was ranked number 510 on the Inc. 5000 list, which is really, really close to the top.
I know.
And you just hit the Inc. 5000 list for the 4th year in a row. Okay.
Yeah.
I am telling you, this is somebody that you want to learn from. I'm going to try to glean as much information from Harrison as I can today to help you guys out. And I can guarantee you we're going to want him back. So Harrison, first of all, welcome. Thank you for taking your time. You are amazing.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I love that intro. Dang, you scared me though about the 6 kids. I thought maybe you knew something. My wife, I actually have 5, and
okay.
And so
I've been talking to your wife. No, actually,
yeah, the sixth one is still a maybe, but I think we're good at 5.
I should have noticed your blood pressure went up.
Yeah, my eyes.
5 kids, 20, 100, whatever.
Exactly. After 2.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit about this whole, like, you are an amazing business person. You've created such amazing success almost everywhere you go. So tell me about that. What does that look? Where did that come from?
Hey, I appreciate that. Didn't start out planning to be a successful entrepreneur. I actually didn't even know what that was. I knew I wasn't good at formal education in school. And so I actually dropped out my junior year of high school to start my first carpet cleaning business. And the rest is history. So from there, I realized, hey, I learned what that word was, entrepreneurial. You found a problem that was my own problem, which was not succeeding in school, and found something that I could succeed at. And the whole thing about entrepreneurs is finding solutions to problems, and became addicted to finding solutions to many different problems. So
Right.
yeah,
Well, we have entrepreneurs who struggle for years. They have an idea and they go for years. And I know a lot of people listening are going to be going, yes, yes, that's me. And yet you seem to launch these businesses as well as helping other distressed businesses. And you are doing all these things so fast. You're still so young. How do you do it that quickly, really?
don't feel young, but yeah, I'm a huge believer in, I can't remember who it was in our in our circle who we talked to, but one of them brought up a great point called just in time learning. And I absolutely agree with that, because we never know what we don't know, and we feel like we can analyze and be like, I know, I've done the market research, and I know how to start this business. I will never know. I mean, there's so many um, unpredictable problems that'll inevitably arise that you just got to learn in time, or learn as you go. And the analysis by analysis is real. You'll never get started if you wait for the perfect um, safety net. And so it's a thing, it's a problem of mine. It's a blessing and a curse that I am able to just jump and pull the trigger. But if I'm passionate about it, I know I'll have the desire to learn before I let anything fail. And a lot of people, because they wait for something that they understand, or that they think will be the safest, sometimes they choose things that they're not passionate about. And if you're not passionate about it, it doesn't matter you know how much problems are thrown at it. It can be a small problem. It's just not worth it anymore. And so it doesn't matter if you learn just in time, you just give up. And so
Right.
if you're passionate about it, you'll do it, and don't wait until you think it's perfect.
And so when you feel that fear or you realize that there's a risk, because obviously we're not dumb, we know that there's risk. What do? You just do it anyway? You just find out the best you can and then move? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, the fear never goes away. I was actually just talking to somebody about that. People say, "Oh, you're so fearless," or "You're so whatever." I'm like, I'm afraid all the time. What are you talking about? Every time I pull the trigger, I'm terrified. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? But I'm not reckless. I feel like I do reach out to those who might know a lot more than me in a certain area, and they help. I mean, you don't need to do everything on your own. Um, I have a great team in what I'm currently doing. And then if I ever need to do something that is outside of any of our expertise, I find those who have done it before, or who I feel like could answer the problems that will inevitably arise. And people love to help. If they feel like they're the experts in those areas, find them and let them be the hero.
Cool, cool. One of the things I love about what you just talked about, most people feel like they have to do it themselves. They
Totally.
won't reach out. Either they don't reach out because they are embarrassed to ask, or they don't reach out because sometimes we have ego and we think, no, no, I know how to do it better, whatever. And so I love that you shared that, because that is so, so imperative. But one of the things I want to help them, I want to let them get to know you a little bit better. First of all, tell us what HJR is. And, in the intro, I said all these businesses. So people might think, well, I dabble in this, I dabble in that. Well, just let's take commercial real estate as an example. You're doing millions and millions of dollars in commercial real estate, and with partners and investors. I mean, you are heavily involved in that. And same with several of these other businesses. Help them get to know you a little bit better. What are the businesses you're involved in? Tell us about that, and why did you get involved? And specifically, I want you to, as you go through them, talk about the one with your the disabilities.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, that one I I prefer to talk about all day, because that is the passion. That's actually not the one that I never planned on it being the financial, motivation or the growth. Um, I have an older sister with severe autism. And so growing up with her, I saw a lot of in problems, I guess, in the field that was supposed to help this demographic. And so when I had extra time and money from other businesses that I started, I talked about the carpet cleaning business, and then I ultimately made the most money doing currency trading with Forex, that I had this extra resources, time and money to invest in starting to get a contract with the state of Arizona to start providing a couple different services that started out mainly for in-home services for individuals with special needs. And really it was meant to be just for my sister and her friends and her community and stuff. But because they saw the passion of our staffs, we were clean, we kept reinvesting our money back into good facilities and equipment and activities, that thing just blew up. And now, you know, it ranges from a private school for students with autism, K through 12, to outpatient clinics for speech and occupational and physical therapies, and mental and behavioral health outpatient clinics that we do in-home. All these services we could do in-home as well. But we occupy a lot of commercial real estate because of it. And so I saw how much money I was leaving on the table by being a tenant in all these areas, that I had to just in time learn before I started expanding my net of footprint of occupying these spaces, that I started a real estate brokerage that specialized in commercial real estate. And so because of that, you know, I learned that commercial real estate, the value is really in the leases, and the buildings are just kind of there. Like it's not like residential where the house has a value no matter what. Commercial real estate, there's a building, but that's just kind of the leases are what's important. And the
Right, because
leases
if you're not leasing it out, there's kind of no, it's not helping you. There's no benefit to having the building.
Nobody's wanting to live there except maybe some homeless people. Nobody's wanting to pay rent unless they're running a business. And so if it's empty, it's just walls. And so it's pretty worthless. And so I was bringing the leases, and so I was bringing the value. I wanted to, you know, I wanted to realize that profit. And so I would be able to go buy empty locations for very inexpensive, fill them up with my leases, refinance them at their current market value because of those leases, and then do it again and again and again and again. And now I help other business owners be able to do the same thing and realize their value and be able to make sure that they're not leaving money on the table. And then, you know, that obviously got my foot in the door of learning how to not only create wealth with real estate, but how do you protect wealth, and what are the tax advantages of being able to do all these other things. And so I started a finance company that really helps wealthy people not only grow their wealth, but protect it with different legal, I need to make sure I say legal strategies that people can protect their wealth as they grow it. And so then we started, you know, it's called Factum Financial, which is our instructional, I hate saying brokerage because that sounds like an investment broker that really just wants to help people grow their money. We want to teach people how to do it themselves, and so they can teach their kids and their kids' kids and everything, because we've learned in one generation, you know, there could be a multi-million-dollar father, and the very next generation it's just gone because the kids don't know how to protect it. They don't know how to grow it themselves, and they don't know how it's, you know, the stewardship is not there. I want to make sure that we're teaching people how to fish and continuing to teach others how to fish, so that we're not in this wealth gap anymore where, you know, the Zuckerbergs or the Buffetts or whatever are able to just take over because nobody else knows the knowledge that they have. And they're really good at teaching certain things on tech or on investing, but they don't teach how they are protecting and growing their wealth at these billions of dollars levels. That's what I want to do. I want to teach what they're not teaching.
Right, right. So you have, not only are you helping the community of the, you know, the disabled people, you have commercial real estate, you're helping at the back end where people need to protect that income, which is really important because so many people, a lot of my clients, one of the dreams that they have in what they're doing, aside from the actual passion of the problem they're solving, is to leave a legacy, not only of the things that they taught people, but the legacy for their family. And if we have to recreate that wheel every single generation, we're not leaving a legacy.
1,000%. Absolutely.
So tell me, you know, you have all these businesses. You said your real passion is the one that kind of helps the community that your sister's involved in. And so you started somewhere else though. You started in other areas. What advice would you give to people? Because people hear all the time, oh, go with your passion. You can figure out a way. You know what I mean? Are these
Yeah.
other things also your passion? How do they decide what to start with?
No, that is a great point. Because yeah, I made a good income with forex trading. I get pretty political at times, and seeing how politics can really, political announcements can really affect one country's currency. I got good at speculating when an announcement would come out, how I could make money off of one country's currencies trading against another country's currency. I wasn't passionate about that, but I was good at it. And so I used that as kind of a stepping stone to say, what are my resources right now that I can currently use, knowing that if I do this forever, I'm going to get burnt out. I'm not going to love my life doing this, but
Right.
it's what I currently had. And so I lived within my means. I saved up from what I had by doing that. And then I always had what was passionate in the back of my mind. I was never letting that die. Like I was never letting that dream just kind of be like, oh, I'll do it next year. It was always, when can I do this? When am I doing this? And so the moment I was able to do it, I executed it. It was never, I'm going to do this that I'm able to do now that's given me a livelihood. And so people can do that, whether it's a 9-to-5 job, whether it's whatever, the
Right.
golden handcuffs that people feel like, well, I have this job and it's kind of taking care of me right now. Fine, stay there as long as you need to, but don't let your passion die by just going home and watching Netflix. Do the side hustle until you can, then you are pursuing what your actual passion is. It might not be an overnight thing, but it took about a year for me to do it with my special needs company, and the rest is history. But then from there, where do I start all the different businesses? And it's basically, where are my current companies, either where are they having problems, pinch points, or where are we spending money? If there is a business that I can either buy, or there's a distressed one that, like, for example, a transportation company, um, we spend a lot of money on transporting our students to and from, or our patients or our members to and from activities, their homes, their schools, their whatever. So I acquire a transportation company, and now we aren't spending money on that. I mean, we are, but it's now income to this sister company that's under you asked what HDR Global was, and it's basically the parent company, the holding company for all the operating businesses, as well as the holding company for the commercial real estate portfolio. And so that's one example. Another example is we spend a lot of money on property and casualty insurance.
And I think
Whether
I said in the millions, but it's probably hundreds of millions.
yeah, it's I could talk numbers if you want, but yeah,
Yeah,
it,
I think it's helpful for people, and people who know me, who follow me, they know we're not all about, you know, the chain gang. I call the chain gang the people who have to wear the gold chains and show their cars and all this stuff. We don't like to do that. But at the same time, you don't know if you want to be a civil engineer. You've got to know what civil engineers are making. And so,
yeah,
yes, I mean, we totally welcome numbers. I think it's helpful for people to understand, because it also gives credibility, so that when
totally.
they hear Harrison say, look, you don't want to make this mistake, and they understand the numbers, are going, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. So yes,
Yeah,
we invite that.
yeah. Which one? I mean, I
So for example, when you're doing your, like, your real estate stuff, first you were just doing the commercial real estate for yourself. Now
yep,
you have clients who you totally help get into this whole massive commercial real estate business. So you're
yep,
bringing in income for yourself through your own real estate. You're bringing in income through clients who hire you, but you're also helping them bring in income, which is obviously why they hire you.
yeah.
So
So our operating businesses, I took from um, $0, obviously, but to now, when we ranked for the fourth year in a row in the Inc. 5000, we're doing over 20 million a year. And that's just the operation, let alone the added value that we recoup with the commercial real estate, where now we have a portfolio that's over $40 million in assets. But that's just what our portfolio is. With our clients that we bring on and show them what to do, we probably have a combined, $80 million that we've helped accumulate for their portfolio that we're also partners in.
Yeah.
But I'm also starting another business that is a family entertainment center, and we're developing that from the ground up. That's going to be gorgeous. I mean, it's I should send you some of the renderings. They're all over my wall over here. But
Oh, how fun!
I basically, we're doing our first development that's a ground up commercial build because we're building in a rural area where there's not a lot of places to renovate. So the town loves us because we're building a whole new complex that will have our school in it, that will have this family entertainment center, that will have additional retail, commercial real estate, retail strip. And in the back of it, we're building a 200-unit apartment complex that will be able to, I mean, they built a hospital. And so the town really needs a lot of these items. But that project by itself is a $50 million project. And so I wouldn't have been able to talk about these numbers 3 years ago. And in fact, I was doing everything myself and I almost went bankrupt, losing everything, trying to go after a $14 million project, because it's just knowing your next steps. Like I went too big because I went from $4 million in transactions and growing to trying to do a 14. I quickly learned that's stretching yourself too thin too quick. And so rewind, luckily we were able to rebound, and our operating businesses were able to protect us from the settlements that we needed to make, to now being like, hey, this $50 million project that we're developing, is it too big too quick? Can I do it myself if I had to? And if some of our investors or partners bailed at the last minute like before, are we protected in all these different areas that I wouldn't have thought about 4 years ago? And so it's just in time learning, making sure that your eyes are always open, that you're learning from past mistakes, that you're bringing on new people to your team to help prevent those mistakes. Like before, it was all me, and I'm learning I am not the smartest person in the room. And so I need to make sure that I'm talking to those in the room who are smarter than me. And it's been the game changer.
That's powerful. And I'm glad you shared some of the places where there were massive hiccups, because we all have them. And people they see someone successful, they see someone like you, and they go, oh my goodness, yeah, but it's Harrison, that's why it worked out. No, you had to earn your stripes just like everyone else. And how interesting, one of the things I noticed in what you said was that you talk about, it was too much to go from 4 to 14 million. But then within just a few years, you're talking exponentially bigger numbers than that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it changes the game. So how do you know when it's just in time? How do you know if you're taking on too much?
Man, that is a good question. I don't want to give a BS answer, but what I have learned is it's actually, unfortunately, never just in time. It's usually a little bit late. And so I guess being able to learn when it's just in time or a little bit late, protecting yourself, and that's kind of contradictory. I don't want to say knowing how to protect yourself, but really that is kind of the first step is okay, I don't know this yet, but worst case scenario, is this gonna ruin me? And so not knowing that it's gonna work out 1,000%, is fine. But are you able to come back from it if it completely falls on its face? That's where my biggest learning curve was. I was always going all in. And there's a difference between being fearless or courageous and reckless. And I was being reckless. And so being unafraid to go all in is not what I'm trying to say of not being afraid to start.
So it
Like,
almost sounds like you go in, you're not afraid to start, but you hedge as many bets as you can to prepare, and you are aware which bets you can and can't hedge, and is it worth it if you can't hedge enough bets?
that's exactly. I'm doing a horrible job at articulating it, but you know, just because you're not afraid to start something doesn't mean think about all the way through that you that you do know. Like, okay,
Right.
I obviously can't put in $14 million into this project if all of the stars don't align right. Will I be able to recover from it? If not, just because, I mean, you don't know A to Z anyway, that's, don't start that, because obviously that's all in. And because things are not going to align all the time. I mean,
Right.
Murphy's law. And so if the things you do know are risky, wait till you learn a little bit more. But then when you feel like, you know what, even if this falls completely on its face, I can survive, that's when you can pull the trigger.
Oh, no, I think that was articulated really well, because I think part of the problem is people who are successful, they don't know, they either they tiptoe around this topic, or they don't really know how to explain it. So I think what you just explained is actually really, really good, and it will help a lot of people.
Good. Well, I hope so. I mean, because I always am bullish and talking about don't be afraid of you, just in time learning, just in time learning. That means people says, cool, I'm just gonna get started and I'll learn just in time. I would be doing a disservice to them if I said, but make sure that if it fails, whatever you decide to do, you can't return from. In my experience, that's just reckless.
Yeah.
Some people, I mean, I don't want to name names, but some very known figures in our entrepreneur industry talk about burn the boats behind you, have no plan B, have no plan whatever. That's the only way you'll succeed. That's not real life. You can run into problems where you won't succeed. You might need those boats to find a
What is
different
that plan
island, you know?
B?
Yeah. So there's no problem with having a plan B, but just if you're passionate enough about plan A, you're going to exhaust all resources you can to make sure you don't have to do plan B. But to kill off any retreat or kill off any ability to survive plan A not working is just foolish, in my opinion.
I love the way you said that. You don't cut off your ability to survive.
Yeah, why do
That's
that?
cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I want to get into I want to get into like the transitions you had to make for COVID, because you are spread across a lot of industries. I think this will be really helpful. But before we do that, I want to get a little bit personal.
Yeah.
First of all, I want you show them your office.
Oh
Show them a
yeah.
little bit of your office and
Old
show us.
glory, baby. That I got the Phoenix Suns, who I will own one day. We got more Phoenix Suns. And then this is where all the magic happens when people come to meet with me over here. But yeah, and then this is all whiteboard. I don't know if you could see, but all
Yeah,
this is whiteboard. So that's where the beautiful minds happen. Just
that is awesome. Okay, I wanted them to see that because you love the Phoenix Suns, and for you to own that is not just a pipe dream right now. You're already in kind of networking with people that you probably will do this with. So that's kind of exciting. So
oh
how
yeah.
long have you wanted to do that?
That's the thing, is it definitely was a pipe dream when I was 14, but
Right. Okay.
but
So for a long
now
time.
I have a ownership group who would go in and make an offer to the current owners of the franchise right now. But unfortunately, I would be minority if we did it now. I want to be majority. So, you know, I don't want to be just a glorified seat holder or ticket, you know, holder. I want to be able to make some difference and make some investments into the franchise to get some championships.
So one of the reasons I wasn't sure if you would share that, but I was hoping that you would. So I was going to kind of beat around the bush and see if you would bring it up. And I'm glad you did, because I wanted people to see, look, I mean, you are a solid businessman. You care about your sister. You're helping with that community. That's your passion. Yet you have these dreams that you've had since you were a little kid. We all have what I would call our little kid dreams. And I think it's so
Absolutely.
important to never give those up. And you are a rule breaker. You totally break old rules. You create new ones. Doesn't matter what the naysayers say. You're like, no, I'm doing that anyway. And one of the things I've noticed also, and one of the things we do is we're all about step skipping strategies. There is no reason to do things incrementally, do it slow, just like everybody else always does it. It can be done quickly, it can be done effectively. We can learn from the past and do it better. And you do that all in all of the businesses that you do. So keeping that in mind, you've had to deal with COVID. You've had to deal with a lot of transitions and a lot of sleepless nights, or maybe just hours you didn't get to sleep as much. So I would like to kind of dig into your brain a little bit. Tell us a little bit what it was like trying to transition. Was the whole COVID thing easy for you? Was it?
I mean, just like with anybody who is trying to not stay in their house and let their business die through this thing, we had to adapt and innovate. And the school, the K through 12 that I was talking about, had to do the most adapting, because it was not in person, and especially our demographic. It's really hard to keep our students who are already kind of who struggle to just focus, keeping them in front of a screen and from a teacher, it was really difficult. So we had to come up with a lot of interactive material that could be done remotely, or we would have staff who would go into their home and help with, we had some protocols that were obviously keep our kiddos safe and social distance, but we found different ways to be able to bill for things that previously weren't even thought about being able to be billed, and who to bill them to. Obviously, the parents aren't going to pay for this. It's not their fault that we had to be COVID. And so learning different ways to provide value and provide services and find places who will pay for that was a trick, but we succeeded.
So not just expecting your clients to have to take care of all the problem. You jumped in, and it sounds like you were like nonstop for months,
Totally.
making sure everything was where it needed to be.
And not only on that, I mean, a lot of on the finance side, on the real estate side, we had to help a lot of our other clients in those areas figure out how they can solve their problems, because they were like, my whole portfolio is going downhill, because like I was saying, the value are in the leases, and when your tenants aren't paying, the value of your building goes
zero.
And so being like, hey, we're going to show you how to be a resource to your clients. Let's go show them all the different ways they can apply for programs like the PPP loans or the EIDL programs, where they can get funds so that they can keep their businesses afloat, which means they can keep paying rent, which means you can keep your portfolio intact. And so just making sure that, one, you're being resourceful and you're finding ways to provide services, but that you're kind of willing to do other people's jobs for them, so that they don't give up and they don't just throw in their towel, because it's a web. The economies have to circulate, and I mean, currency is called currency because it needs to keep moving. And so if one person decides to stop, it breaks it for everybody. And so unfortunately, we were kind of doing 100 jobs for people who kind of wanted to just give up because they were terrified. But that's how successful people succeed, is they're willing to not only do their job, they're willing to do everybody else's.
Yeah. And what I love is you weren't just, oh, we got to do everybody's job. You're like, we've got to do their job as we help them transition, because maybe you're good at transitioning, but you might need to help them do the same.
Absolutely.
That's cool. That's really cool. Okay. Well, we've already taken your time, and I'm just saying right now, we are having you back. So now you're just obligated. That's just how it is.
I'm in.
We want you back because I want to honor your time. Our time is up. but I know that we have so much more to learn from you. And I know that people are like, wait, what about this? What about this? We'll go there. We will go there, and we will have you back. We would love to have you back. And
I can't wait.
Okay, that would be great, because you seriously have so much wisdom, you have so much experience, and you're in so many industries. That's what's so crazy about it.
That's what makes it fun. Yes.
Yes. So Harrison, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. Any parting words for our audience?
Just tell the team I love and miss them. Can't wait to see you all again.
Okay, will do. Will
Okay.
do. Harrison,
Thank
we
you,
love
guys.
you too. All right.
See you soon.
Talk to you later. Thank you.